period of life, and I sit here on a panel with a reverend and I'm using terms like that, so I'm sorry. But I was born in Central Florida in a little town called Eustis. My wife and soulmate, Dr. Ken LaRoe, sitting back there, was born in the same hospital I was 8 days before I was. Our dads were both born there and played football together in high school in the 40s. The county we were born in and still live in is a small agrarian county that has now become basically a better community for Orlando. But it's relatively famous for all the wrong reasons. We had a notorious sheriff in the county, Willis McCall. There was a book recently written about him that won a eulogy, I think, that called The Devil in the Grove. And he murdered a couple of young black men who were wrongly accused of raping a white woman. And so that's the background for which we founded our bank. And I had started a bank in 99 and sold it in 06 and thought, I've got to do something with my life other than just make a bunch of people a bunch of money. And that was the genesis of First Green Bank. And oddly enough, me and Kat started around the same time. The Global Wise for Banking on Values started at the same time. So there's something in the water or something. I don't really know where to go from there other than to say that the loop is closed and I'm under a definitive agreement to sell the bank, and the closing is October 19th. So my dream when I started this thing was to maybe build an owner's manual for values-based banks that I could convince other bankers to do it, but all they do is at the banking conferences and say, "Oh, Kenny, you're doing such great stuff, we're really proud of you." Well, why don't you do the same? Well, my board, small company, shareholders, the whole drill. But it may have a really good ending. The bank that we sold to wants to continue a bunch of our values proposition. We have a living wage program. We pay about 120% of the living wage, $33,000 a year. So none of our tellers have to be on public assistance. They want to continue our solar loan program, which I think was the best in the country. But I just got one question, and then I'll close. About a week ago, I put on our reader board in front of our office in Eldora, "Just do it." And so we're in the armpit of the shithole in Lake County, and when our governor, who's ending his term soon, thank God, he was the original, Trumper. When he got elected his first term, when he wanted to unveil his budget for the state, where he slashed all the benefits to the disabled, all the benefits to the elderly, all the benefits to the mentally ill. We're now 49th in the country in almost every measure, including education. He came to Eustis to unveil it to the First Baptist Church because we have the highest concentration of teabaggers in the state. So that's how bad this place is. So I put "Just do it" on our reader board. It's kind of maybe a good thing. And so my assistant calls me this morning. He's in a total panic. Oh my God, everything's blowing up. And they're confronting the tellers. The tellers are all saying, "Call Ken, and you're not here. What do I tell them?" I said, "Tell them to go F themselves." After listening to the CEO of Unilever today, and he said, I don't want to, were any of y'all there? I don't want to be the guy that goes home and says, I didn't do anything. And if any of you that have my business card will see my first title is Granddad, because that's the most important thing in my life. Where am I going with this? The question is, would you take down "Just do it" off the reader board?
No.
Yes, raise your hand. No, raise your hand. Okay, just stand.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so I want to flip back to the connection between poverty, pollution, and police state activities. So we actually have just the irony of all ironies in the Justice of the Climate movement that the people closest to risk and most damaged by climate effects had the least to do with producing climate change in the first place. They have the lowest carbon footprint. They're the most resilient with resources, yet they're in harm's way first. We actually have a clean vehicle assistance program at Beneficial State Bank that's putting low resource people into used EVs and hybrids first, because we want them in there first, and it will have the best effect on their household budget as well. But we're a long way from righting these injustices, so I want to flip back to the Reverend Yearwood to talk about the connection between pollution, poverty, and police state crimes. And particularly in this poignant moment of the 13th anniversary of Katrina and the 10th anniversary of the financial crisis, and what we've learned from any of this. I promise we're going to go to the solution set next, but I think we have to bore in a little more to what's gone on in this country, particularly in the last 13 years.
No, definitely. I mean, so as I said earlier, I'm from Louisiana, and August 29th was the 13th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina hitting the Gulf Coast and causing the most financial damage, which is actually we'll get back to, because there is a connection there because of what, how our institutions are using their money to build and communities after storms, but they're actually then putting money into the fossil fuel industry that's causing the storms to begin with. So there should be some accountability from these institutions in that aspect. But the thing here is that we can fight poverty and pollution at the same time. That's the great news, that we can fight them. I do have a funny story though on that for our climate movement. This is actually a funny story. So I had to go to, one of the things that we do at the Caucus is that we want to break down silos. And I know we talk about this all the time. Our movement will not be successful if we operate in silos. Even in our climate movement, when we have those fracking over here, there's mountain removal over here, there's the water protectors, there's this, there's sometimes there's indigenous community. I mean, there's all these silos. And what's interesting is that the same folks who we're fighting against are the same folks. And so we need to break down those silos. But then this even goes to our movement. So even from immigration or LGBTQIA rights or women's rights or definitely Black lives or Native rights. And so one of the things here that we try to do is break down the silos. And so we had a meeting of both activists who are dealing with police reform and police accountability, come together with climate activists. And it was a little unique, because you had some hardcore, long-term police reform activists, most people of color. And then you had other side climate activists who are, I don't say white, I'll say Birkenstock, right? So, keeping it 100. And so they came in, and we were trying to figure out, we were trying to come together and figure out, again, how we can do the issue of poverty and pollution. And all of a sudden, somebody mentioned, they said, well, we need to get BLM together. And then the folks on police reform was accountability. Yeah, now, I knew what they were thinking. And then the activists saying, yeah, BLM is what's wrong. And I saw, they were like hugging each other, they were kissing, and they was high-fiving, and they were like, yeah, we have to get BLM together. Yeah, we got to get BLM together. And I was listening, and I said, well, hold on. Your BLM is what? He said, yeah, we got to get Black Lives Matter together. And I said, and your BLM is what? The Bureau of Land Management. I said, okay, well, let's restart this again then. Let's take this back so we can really. But what's interesting is that they actually are connected, believe it or not, because the Bureau of Land Bureau of Land Management has an impact with Black Lives Matter and how it treats people. And so I think that's the fundamental thing that our movement first will do. If you don't do anything from this conference, this summit, this occasion of us coming together, if we don't leave here without breaking down the silos within this movement, then we're not going to win. We need, and we must have, and the young folk understand that, but we got to have young folks and old folks and all folks from different things come together. That's the first thing. But then the issue regarding about this movement from injustice and dealing with inequality is this. This is kind of what, when we were in Standing Rock, one of the things that was interesting was that, and very powerful, was that the water protectors would pray for those working on the Dakota Access Pipeline. Now, I'm about Caucus, but I'm a preacher. And then for me, I was like, we gonna pray for them? You know what I'm saying? No, we really gonna do it. I said, all right. I'm like, all right, well, one eye open, all right. Okay. And so, because it's hard, you're purpose about who you know what's called destruction, but they had the spirit to pray, and it blessed me. But then the